Hi, very good morning to you. It's Jim from maverickstar. Just wanted to drop in, let you know that we're still here. The website, your website, that handles all the magnetic North Pole migration data is still active, and you can still go over to Pole Shift News and get your latest information. We're going to be doing a magnetic pole positioning for you on Christmas Eve, which is a few days away. So please join us for that. But, you know, in general, just look around. The whole global community is a shambles. We've got the downturn of the global economy. The UN and the EU attacking, agriculture now at an alarming rate. Unfair and illegal elections. Look what happened to Trump the other day in Colorado. World manufacturing at an all-time low, at the same time human population at an all-time high. The problem is with this is that human beings need a job to participate in this capital system that we're part of, and without that job you can't obtain money, and that leaves you only a couple of other possibilities or ways of obtaining money. One, stealing it, the other is benefits, and the other two are not very desirable for the majority of us. We would all like a job that pays a livable wage, and at the moment it doesn't seem to be the case for people across the range. At the moment here in the UK we've got doctors, junior doctors, protesting about being paid £14 an hour, and rightfully so. They do a great job, whilst at the same time I could point my fingers at other people that do good jobs, but in comparison to, like, let's say, train drivers that are on £65,000-70,000 a year compared to what a doctor does, I don't think that there is any ideas that the doctor should be on more than £14 an hour, and so should some of these nurses that are having to work excessive hours. We could go on and on and on, but I know that this is a problem not just here in the UK. This is a problem across the range. As the cost of living goes up, we feel the pinch. There's only so much room we've got to manoeuvre back into that corner, and once all of the the luxuries have gone off of the food shopping lists and our lifestyles, then what else can be sacrificed from that point on? And of course we're seeing global politicians continuing to push us further back into that corner. So there is only one possible outcome, as far as I'm concerned. In this scenario, there is going to be at some point mass global upheaval. I know it's global. I don't think a lot of other people quite understand that. The way we raised money on this channel was from international countries and people within those countries chipping in. And when you see all of these countries, a reduction in the actual funds that we raise for this observatory, slow down, that the problem was never related to just, say, England or Ireland or Europe. This is a global problem, and I think that the full extent of this crisis that we're in is not being publicly made aware by the mainstream media. They're keeping it quiet because if they didn't, what is predicted in the short-term future is going to come to fruition right now. And what am I talking about? Well, I can see a rebellion starting with the people. I saw a flashpoint the other day with what happened with Donald Trump. I'm not a legal expert on all the ins and outs, but I'm sure that before a penalty should be issued, somebody should be found guilty. And in this case with Donald Trump, he wasn't found guilty, but yet the penalty was still issued on him. He has been told he can't run for position in Colorado by these lawyers that have made this decision based on the fact that he was apparently blamed for the protests that started at Capitol Hill. Well, like I said, surely somebody should be found guilty before there is a dispense of any form of punishment, and what they've did is a punishment. It's clear they've said that you can't run in that state. So, we see, these things unfolding now quicker than ever. And, going back to, us raising money here on this channel, I know it has affected a lot of other channels. And for the same reasons, I didn't want to mention them to you guys. They're reluctant to do it because they know as soon as you start to mention it, you can cause a cascade problem. It wouldn't really make any difference now to us at this observatory, and that's why, as opposed to twice a month doing the magnetic pole position, we're doing it once a month and just trying to keep the service back down to the skin and bones, just to keep a service going. So that's why we chose at the observatory to not do so many updates and videos on YouTube, but to clearly let you know that the website is still operational. We're still getting data come from Canada, and we've still got the Trimag system running every 3 seconds here for you. And on Christmas Eve we will deliver the latest magnetic pole shift for you for this month. It's just hard times, guys, and you know it as well as I know it. We couldn't be in a worse situation. We have a 780,000 year anomaly, the pole shift, returning, and for the last 123 years, 124 years, we have seen the migration of the magnetic North Pole increase in speed. Along with that, we know that it has reduced the protective shield of our planet, which has allowed more cosmic rays inbound. Adding to this, we're also in a 40-year low period of solar activity. Again, low solar activity reduces the heliosphere, which is like the Earth's magnetosphere, which protects us from, or our solar system from, inbound cosmic rays, and therefore increases the levels from a solar system point of view of the cosmic rays that are potentially able, through our weakened magnetosphere here on the Earth, allowed to penetrate into our upper atmosphere and affect our jet streams in the manners of which they are, which has really been what we have witnessed for quite some time with regards to the term climate change, not for the reasons which these governments and mainstream organisations are telling us. It's to do with CO2, something which is a trace gas in our atmosphere, measures around 0.04%, very, very small amounts of CO2 in our atmosphere. And let's say they got their golden wish and they was able to reduce it by 200 parts per million. Well, that would just shut down the vegetation on our Earth, and within a year all the species possibly would be dead as a result of that. So they are balancing a very, very fine tuning fork when talking about reducing by any great means the atmospheric CO2. And let's face it, it's all to reduce temperature by 1.5 degrees, something that we see a fluctuation in every daily life, with our temperature and weather wherever you are. I mean, right now here in the UK we are in the winter time. Our angle of rotation is furthest away from the sun, and we are going to experience more cooler weather. As a result of that, we see temperature fluctuations from -2 degrees some days to +15 within a 24-hour period. This is not uncommon. Those are the fluctuations, and they're talking about a 1.5 degrees temperature increase. Our climate on our Earth does appear to be cooling down at the moment, and I'll back that up with some facts, because if we look at the Arctic ice extent over the Arctic region, we can see that there has been 8 million square kilometres of increased ice over the last 11 years, every year showing a positive increase. Something that the United Nations won't even bear to bring up to your attention, but this is a fact. If we was ever going to study the cooling effects of a planet, then you would start somewhere where it's more sensitive than anywhere else, and that would be the Arctic circles, surely. So if the Arctic circles are expanding, there cannot be any truth, can there, to global warming, and especially to a trace gas causing that global warming. It's an excuse to generate, in my view, an artificial economy which is as the United Nations like to talk about, and the European Union, $1 trillion industry, and based on nothing but fiction and no facts. This is the times that we are in, and it's not surprised that, at this point in time where we all are right now, coming up to the Christmas holidays, nobody really feels the spirit of Christmas. And it's not surprising. Adding to this, we are facing, at some point, a re-entry into a thermocline, which is theoretically, suggested that we could pass as a point of return back into another glacial period. We're talking about another unfortunate situation where we find ourselves at the end of a 100,000 year Minkov Cycle, which, as these climatologists know through studying the ice cores, it returns us back into, or at least the northern and southern hemispheres of our planet, back into cooler periods of time, which last, in excess of 90,000 years. There has been nothing, to my knowledge, done regarding this anomaly alone, let alone, the serious talks that needed to be had, that haven't been yet had, regarding the magnetic North Pole migration and the causes of this. This is a very rare anomaly. Last time was an excursion, which was a failed reversal. That took place 12,000 years ago. And then before that, the last magnetic completed reversal was 780,000 years ago. Again, there hasn't been a serious debate on this topic. And that is why, things are the way they are. An observatory with its own equipment like ours should have been getting, more support, not just from you guys, the general public, because we kept it a public observatory, but we should have also managed to, secure a little corporate funding as well, so that we could do a lot more, and it just wouldn't be a one-man show here at the observatory, doing the programming, the building of electronics, the processing of the data in Excel, and the running of website, and then the talking about the information on YouTube in these videos like we have done. It's a very, very sad day for all of us, because as a result of the lack of funding, we have all lost critical time in gathering critical information at a critical point in time, where the poles are moving now faster than they ever have done on our planet. And of course, Pole Shift News is a dedicated website just for the magnetic pole migration. But if you have a look on there, there is some other interesting information, like you can see at a glance other anomalies that take place. We monitor CO2, atmospheric oxygen, radiation, and we've got magnetometers in a couple of other countries, albeit that one now is just supplying the data regularly, and that's coming from Kendlin, Canada. But it is what it is, and you can't moan about it all the time. You have to do something positive. That's what we've tried to do. We've had a little bit of a think. We've sat back and looked at the situation, and I think it is possible to at least do one pole shift, or one positioning of the magnetic North Pole for you guys, just to keep you informed until this economic situation changes. We will still try and provide that little bit of a service for you. I will mention the link down there in the description if you want to help support us. It's there. And the only other thing for me to say is, what, guys, it is dark times that we're in. I understand that the morale, the motivation is all at an all-time low. But hang in there. You take care of your loved ones, as always. I'll say what I usually do. Bye for now.